So, Mark, did you see the best Halloween costume ever invented in the world? The Buffalo slot machine. We've talked so much about it. So popular in Vegas casinos, and one person made it into a costume. It's pretty good, but I don't understand why it's not a Buffalo jackpot spin on the reels.
Yeah, extra work. It is cool how actually I think they're inside it, turning the wheels or whatever. But it's cool that it's got that function working. It would be a pain to walk around in, but it's an awesome job and something cool. You know what would have made it better though? If it was Eagle.
You stole my joke. So Halloween was yesterday, and it's been crazy watching this Halloween season with the Sphere. More visuals. We talked earlier about Sphere of Fear. They had this eyeball visual that literally gave me the cringe when I watched it.
What do you know?
I don't know what the cringe is. I don't know
my daughter. The cringy. Oh, Dad, you're so cringy. I know you really like the one with the fangs, where he looked down the flashlight, all that stuff. That one was very cool. The eyeballs, yeah, a bit creepy, but it kind of goes into everything. I feel for the people that have to come up with a new thing like every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to come up with something creative and different. Oh man, it would be just stressful. Like you'd be going to sleep thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow?
Yeah, they were working overtime there. The Fang one was so cute. I mean, he's just there with his little flashlight, then it goes dark and he comes back with his little fangs. And yeah, so it went from like giving me the creeps to loving it and thinking it's so cute. Love me the Sphere.
Yeah, they do a great job and such cool visuals and something you can't get anywhere else. So it's always, worth checking out when you're in town.
So Halloween related, Vegas Issues had a tweet saying, it's almost Halloween, so here's some of the scariest places in Las Vegas. Some of the highlights: 7-Eleven by the Strat, the dating scene,
Naked City,
the Green Door. If you have to ask about what the Green Door is, look it up. Day Club Pool, all the pee. There was also the Circle K on Maryland Parkway in Charleston. It's funny, I drove by that the other day with my wife, and I pointed out to it, I said, that's quite the place in there.
Yeah, I love Little Darlings on a Tuesday at 3 a.m. It's so specific, and I don't know if he's talking about the people working or the people leaving or what. It's probably all just a mess of not greatness on a Tuesday at 3 a.m. But that one cracked me up, and I love anytime Naked City gets in there, Sean. Got to talk about it.
This is a very accurate list. Let's just say I've been to almost all of these places, and this is a very accurate list, but not all of those places. So moving on, When We Were Young has announced their dates and their lineup for 2025. It's going to happen October 18th. And more nostalgia, Mark. We're talking about all these nostalgic bands, these 90s bands, and they're delivering again. Panic at the Disco, Avril Lavigne, Weezer, Blink 182, so many more. Presale is November 1st, so get your tickets soon. And they're not cheap. They start at $325.
Yeah, I love that. Like you can down payments $20, like $19.99. It reminds me of like the infomercials, like, oh, yours with 17 easy payments in $19.99. Like, come get it. This is kind of crazy. I don't feel like anything else goes pre-sale this far in advance, like a full year. But yeah, great lineup, a lot of really good bands. Some I've never heard of that I'm sure put on a great show. And but it's so expensive, man. Everything's so expensive for, no matter where you go to a concert, the prices are just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, concerts are expensive, and then you put all these bands in one place and you're going to pay for it. And I do think this festival has sold out, so I don't know if it's going to sell out now at this price or whatever, but I'm assuming that that's not a huge price. They also have VIP packages starting at $650, which gets you access to food and stuff like that. But yeah, it's an expensive day, but you get to see all of your favorite old bands in one place.
It's funny because today I was like scrolling through Facebook and it popped up like an interview with Nirvana, and they're like in the 90s. Oh, Madonna charges $50 for tickets? That's insane. What do we charge? Like $17, $18?
Those were the days. So a few years ago, Caesars Entertainment decided to turn an alleyway into a mall. And a lot of people said, what the heck are they doing? There's not enough space. They built a giant Ferris wheel there, and the Linq Promenade was born. And they've owned it until now, and they just sold it. So Caesars has sold the Linq Promenade. This doesn't include the Linq Hotel or Flamingo or any other casinos. It also doesn't include the High Roller, so they kept the Ferris wheel at the back. But the Promenade sold for $275 million. Yeah, I mean, malls all over Vegas, it's weird because most of them aren't owned anymore by the casinos that they're in. So this really isn't a big surprise, although it does disconnect them a little bit.
Yeah, when you think about it as just like, a strip mall basically is what it is on both sides of the promenade. It makes somewhat sense why you would sell that, but this just goes into what we've seen across Vegas, hotels and everything, selling out the land from underneath themselves, being asset light, which kind of goes against everything we grew up learning about business and everything else. Like, hey, that's your best asset, like your home. You want to pay it off. You don't want to always be paying rent on it. So it's kind of like a reverse here. But we've talked about their debt load and how much, they owe. So this is a way that they can start to pay that down some.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They have to pay down the debt, and we saw them sell World Series of Poker. This is a similar thing. In fact, this is what they said. The sale of the Linq Promenade represents a non-core asset sale that will accelerate our debt reduction goals. And yeah, that's it. To reduce debt, they pay a lot of interest. Interest rates are high. They need to get that under control. And it's sad to see them kind of selling off World Series of Poker, Linq. I don't know. It's a mall, right? So is it really going to change? But yeah, Caesars, they're focusing on their core assets, their casinos.
Wouldn't it be funny if they named it something else, that has nothing to do with the link or anything like that, or the high roller or the hotel? Like that's the one problem. I'm sure it's probably in the contract somewhere that they can't change it for so long, or at least I hope it is. But it'd be funny if they just named it something completely off the rails.
The Quad Promenade. See, you remember the Quad? It was only there for like
Yeah,
2 years. The
yeah,
Quad for
but
people.
it made sense. It was like a college hangout. The Quad, I get it, and it's a dumpy hotel that's aimed towards younger people. I think the Quad was the best idea of it. Link, whatever, that doesn't make any sense. Besides, they put a Ferris wheel in.
For people who don't know, when they built the Linq Promenade, they renamed Imperial Palace the Quad, and they renovated the casino, but they didn't renovate the hotel rooms because they didn't have enough money. So the hotel rooms were still the crappy old IP hotel rooms. And so they called it the Quad until they could renovate the hotel rooms and then make it all the Linq. It was very confusing, but there was that little Quad era. And if you know, you know.
Yeah, bring back the Quad era. O'Shea's too.
So let's dive into the comments, starting with Hofbrauhaus. Somebody pointed out on the last show that I didn't talk about the paddling at Hofbrauhaus, and I should, because it's a thing. It's a big thing, or a big reason to go there for a lot of people. You can buy shots and they'll paddle you. If it's your birthday, they'll paddle you. And here is a compilation video that I found on the internet of people getting paddled.
Yeah, if we needed any more evidence that our phones listen to us, like right after we recorded that show, I go on Twitter and one of the first things I'm scrolling through is like, a compilation of a guy paddling all these patrons, and he's like, "Oh, this guy really loves his job," and stuff. But yeah, it looks like a fun thing to do, and something that if you're there and you're there having some drinks and everything, I could see why people would jump into it. And we talked about it in the after show. Dave didn't want to do it this time, even though he did it 10 years ago when you guys were there for his birthday. But that's, getting older, getting wiser.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a painful proposition. It is funny because that video showed up for me too. So I had already just seen it. And then when people were making comments, I grabbed it and I threw it in there so I could show it. So social media working against us. Also on X, I got tagged in this tweet from Treble, who's in the Versailles Tower. He noted that he has a great Chris Angel view from Planet Hollywood. For some reason, he deleted his tweet, but I still have one of the pictures he put up there, and he had a close-up of Chris Angel. So I love that people are tagging us, but don't delete the tweets.
He didn't delete it. Chris Angel made it disappear, Sean.
Exactly. So the AI helicopter thing was fake. I did say on the show that it might be fake. That part got cut out because you made a joke, so I put it text on the screen to say that. But yeah, people thought we were idiots, and we're idiots. Okay. And then let's end the comment section with this. Mark,
Jeez.
Putt-putt. What the hell? Why do you keep calling things putt-putt?
Yeah. What do you want me to call it? Mini golf? Is that like, are we doing food court, food hall? It's putt-putt. I don't know what to say. It's fancy putt-putt in the middle of a bar, whatever. But I just love that, talking about how negative and can't deal with the negativity. I said it looks great. It's a cool concept. I think it'd be fun. I just don't know how well it will do being that far down the strip. The location's a bit of a tough thing. The price is a bit high, and we've seen other golf venues struggle. So I don't know what's negative about that. I said the pizza looks great too. Like it'll be a fun thing. I just don't know that they'll fill it up.
That pizza does really look great. As I was producing the show and getting pictures of it, I was like, dang, this looks like solidly good pizza over at the Putt-Putt. I grew up in California. We called it mini golf. Putt-Putt is a much nicer way to say it. That's how they say it in the Midwest. Stop being upset. I'm going to say Putt-Putt too. Makes me cool. As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show where we talk all about Putt-Putt and behind the channel in the comments and all of the fun stuff we're doing in Vegas and all of the cool other stuff going on. Thanks to everybody who supports us over there. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. One of the more interesting things over the last few years is Netflix and some of their big shows and them doing pop-up experiences. We have the Stranger Things experience here in Las Vegas. And Netflix, I guess, wants to get into the restaurant industry, or they already are, in Los Angeles, they have this pop up and they are building this Netflix Bites. It's going to be an MGM Grand starting in 2025. It's going to be a pop up with food based on their different franchises. And, in this press release, they talk about all of the different experiences they have around the world, from Stranger Things to Squid Games, the experience, the Queen's Ball, a Bridgerton experience. Mark, is that the one you want to go visit?
When I first saw this, I was thinking, is this going to be like MGM's version of Hell's Kitchen, where because Netflix has a ton of cooking shows and stuff like that. So I figured, oh, maybe they're going to be doing like a cooking show in the restaurant, and then it'll draw people in. We see how popular Hell's Kitchen is, one of the most popular Caesars owned restaurants or run the restaurants. So I thought kind of that's what it would lean into. I mean, it still sounds super interesting, and people love the shows and everything. So if you can bring food into that, I think it adds a little bit to it and makes it a unique experience. So I'm excited to see what that all plays out to. But I would love to see like a show type of thing too.
Yeah, I mean, as they grow this, they could do better. The Stranger Things experience is neat. I mean, they have different sets, you take pictures. It's essentially a giant gift shop. It's there to sell merch. And that's what pays for it, but it's free. You can go in there. And I like this. I mean, I don't know that this is hugely different than things we've seen in the past, but the restaurant concept, I guess, is, and I still don't have much of a clue. I haven't had time to dive too much into what the LA experience was food wise, but I'll show some images if I can find them for people out there. But we'll see. A year. These pop-up restaurants are interesting. We had that one just close over at Mandalay Bay. It seems like the whole pop-up thing. We have the Yellowstone one over at Wynn. This is becoming the future of Vegas.
I'm offended that you called swag merch, so I'm unsubscribing, Sean.
All right. Well, I have an opportunity for you since you're unsubscribed and you're quitting the show. How about you become an F1 reporter? And
No.
yeah, that's your dream job. I mean, as if you're not already one. Here, you get to do it. And casino.org is going to hire somebody or pick somebody to be their F1 reporter. They're not looking for influencers, they say. So, I mean, who knows how real that is? Because if you have a huge social media following and you apply, are they going to pick you because of that? But they're going to give you a couple $1,000s, fly you here, put you up, and you get to do all the VIP stuff all on them. And you just have to fill out a form, 500 words, and applications go through November 6th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to get your application in.
Seems kind of last minute, what if you're busy that weekend or whatever? It would have been better if they planned this out like 6 months ahead, but maybe some people can jump on this and take advantage of it or give it a try. But we've seen this more and more with hotel brands and stuff be like, hey, apply to be our reporter on the ground. And I think it's just a way to try to find like a new influencer on the cheap or something versus paying an influencer to do this type of work. But maybe this is a bit different. We'll have to see how it plays out. But I'm excited to see what the F1 experience is like. I'm not going to be going, or I'm not planning on going to the race. Who knows if tickets drop real low, but just to see kind of like how it all evolves and what it's like to be on the street and the sounds and sights and everything like that. So, I feel like I got to do it once while it's here. Who knows if it'll be here after next year. We'll have to wait and see on that, but I'm excited to check it out.
Turn all of that into 500 words, fill out the form, and maybe you can win. There you go.
There you go.
I like that they're not making you do a TikTok video or something like that. I mean, I know
I hate that.
why brands are doing that these days, but you can write 500 words. I feel like that's good. You're right. It's super last minute. So maybe that means that to be a better opportunity for people. Less people will try to do it. It's casino.org, not the biggest site in the world, but big enough that it's in our niche. So everyone should fill it out. Try it. I mean, you get to do VIP and take some pictures and enjoy hell, why not?
Is this where I'm supposed to say, you always just do it because you never know, like going to Hawaii with Arby's?
Yes, I was waiting. I was just going to keep stretching out the segment until you mentioned Arby's in Hawaii. Mark's huge contest claim to fame.
Yeah, won back in 2019. Cool experience. Didn't expect to win. Didn't even know when it was going to happen. And it was like you had to fly out a week later. So that was an interesting conversation with my wife. But yeah, it all went well.
So one of the questions that comes up often is what's going on with Dream Las Vegas, the stalled out project on the south end of the strip. And there hasn't been any news for a while, but we do have some news, and it's, I don't know, not great or very similar to before. They just applied for a 2-year extension with the county, which is recommended to get approval, but that won't happen until next month. But they say it's 20% done, which it has been since they stopped construction. They also said they're still working on financing, that they should have it before the end of the year. Pretty sure they said that last year too, but yeah, they have an extension, so that's good, I guess.
Well, why give them 2 years? Why are we letting this sit there for another potentially 2 years without them having to do much of anything? Like, if you're going to have money by the end of the year, then give them a 3-month extension, a 4-month extension. Like, let's get this moving, keep their feet to the fire a bit. I don't know. This seems, and we see this happen time and time again. It just seems like it's too easy.
I believe it was originally supposed to open in 2023. Then you have COVID delays, and you have this whole shutdown. It's not a huge project, so I could see it getting probably done in a year. I have no idea. They say they're 20% done. A lot of the hard, site work is already done, so it's just a matter of building the building. So hopefully they get financing. I still think this is a great idea. Hyatt now owns Dream Hotels, so this could be great in that way. I like the idea of the boutique hotel that also has a casino in that location. I think there's a lot going for it. Everything except for money.
Yeah, I'm kind of, are you a little surprised Hyatt just doesn't step in and say, you know what, we're going to take this over and let's build it?
I mean, this project predates Hyatt taking over Dream, so yeah, maybe that could have happened at some point, but that's really just a management company. They're asset light. Hyatt is. They're not doing this, and Dreams is really just a management company working with other owner operators. So I think it's probably beyond Hyatt's scope to come in and actually fund this project.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing we're seeing with the casinos and everything. All these hotel brands are just loyalty front. They don't actually manage many of the properties anymore, but I mean, Hyatt needs more locations in Vegas. They lost a ton. I would be kind of, wanting to get this thing moving along.
And let's close with this. The stats are in. Now, we did have earnings calls for Caesars and MGM. I haven't had a time to go through them. I don't think there was anything significantly different there. I know MGM was touting they were doing really well, but some of their earnings came in a little less than analyst expectations, but still all on par there. So let's take a look at the stats for September 2024. Visitor volume up 1.6%. Convention attendance up 29.2% year over year, 527,000 people. Hotel occupancy still doing well, 83.9. Average daily rate, RevPAR, we're seeing slight downtrends, but they're so much higher than they were even a few years ago. So everything is looking pretty good. There's some stuff in the gaming numbers we can look at in a minute, but visitor numbers were still strong.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see 30% up on convention. Can you think of anything that was happening that time that didn't happen the year before that would be driving all that?
I'm not an expert enough to know conventions off the top of my head for September, but I'm sure there was something. It's weird because as we've come out of COVID and things have recovered in different ways, some conventions took longer to come back. Some conventions came here when they weren't here before, and then they went back away. So I feel like we see these, it's like a roller coaster when you look at this number month to month. It hasn't really balanced out yet.
Before COVID, it was kind of like, all right, this month, and there was other little or smaller conventions that would come in there, but it was like, this month is this month is this, and they kind of had their set thing that they've been coming for years and years, and now it's just all over the place.
So looking at gaming revenue numbers, and not a big surprise there, the Las Vegas Strip taking in $741 million, which was minus 1.8% year over year. But downtown, did you see this number? They were up 33% year over year. So that means that a whale came down there, lost a lot of money. It's funny how these can change things. I think MGM said on their earnings call that 7 or 8 Baccarat players really affected their earnings. They lost a lot more than they expected. So even in those big properties, these things can swing, but 33% up year over year downtown, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's crazy when you think about how, a handful of people can change the numbers for a month, and it kind of blows your mind when we're talking hundreds of millions, billions of dollars at times for the month, but 1 or 2 people can come in and have a really big loss or a really big win the other way, and you can't really plan for that. You base it on the averages, but sometimes there's spikes either way.
Nothing else really sort of stands out other than Mesquite down 19.1%. I don't know. These are fascinating numbers. You should take a look at these each and every month. Laughlin struggling a little bit, Mark, so I know that hurts you, but we'll put a link to all of these. Give Laughlin some love. We'll put a link to all these numbers. I think the moral of the story, every month we see them. We've seen some slight declines in gaming revenue here and there. Still records, if you look back a couple of years, everything is still going super strong here.
Yeah, we thought maybe it'd be a little bit softer coming into this fall and rolling into the winter. We started to see that towards the end of summer, but it just seems like it's staying kind of where it was. Maybe not growing like it was the last couple of years, but it definitely isn't on a decline.
So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. These gaming numbers, Netflix Bites, their pop-up restaurant, Caesars selling Linq Promenade, everything else we discussed on this show, putt-putt, Mark, mini golf. How do you say it? Let us know in the comments. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, but we are taking next Tuesday off. So we'll be back next Friday with a brand new mega show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody.
Did I just promise a mega show?
You did. Hope not.
Oh, God. Mark saying putt-putt. I stole his joke. He actually said that before, and I had to redo me.